In Columbia, South Carolina last week, the City Council approved and passed a new ordinance which is a new plan dubbed, quote, the Emergency Homeless Response, which forbids homeless individuals under penalty of law from entering the downtown area of Columbia. Police will be instructed to remove homeless people from the area, and so-called quality of life laws will be strictly enforced, which includes bans on such things as loitering. And a special hotline will be set up so businesses and residents can report homeless people in the area.
What a waste of state resources. Cops could actually be out there catching real criminals.
Absolutely. You know, it's just insane. There will be a 24-hour homeless shelter on the outskirts of town, but the maximum capacity is only 240 people. And there are at least 1,518 homeless people currently right now in the area of Columbia.
Okay, so 250 beds and 1,500 people.
How is the equation, you know, fitting there? Where is the remainder going to go?
So what happens to people who are caught in the area and can't get into one of these into this 250 bed luxurious homeless shelter? What happens to them?
Well, for one thing, the homeless that do get into the shelter will not be permitted to leave freely. The only way that they're allowed to leave is if they set up an appointment to be shuttled by van to some other area. And police will be posted near the doors of the shelter on that same street to ensure that when homeless people exit the building, they do not walk towards the downtown area. And if they do violate these rules and ordinances, they will be locked up in jail.
Okay, so you have jail, quasi-jail.
Yeah, jail or almost jail. Exactly. And
it seems like pretty much the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the ACLU is calling this obviously an unconstitutional crime against humanity. It violates homeless people's right to equal protection under the law, as well as their right of freedom of assembly. They're people, they're human beings. They're allowed to go and walk wherever they please.
Now,
just because
these
they're
laws...
an eyesore. This is what it's about. It's not about helping people. It's about the fact that homeless people are a dirty, scrungy eyesore, and they're bad for tourism, so they want to get them out of people's sight.
Right. These politicians, these lawmakers, look at homeless people as, well, you're blight. I don't want to look at you. I don't want anything to do with you. Out of sight, out of mind. Go. Oh, look, we set up a homeless shelter for you. Yeah,
I mean,
a very small homeless shelter.
Right. The name of this thing is the Emergency Homeless Response. It makes it sound like they're trying to do something about the homeless problem.
Oh, of course, you know that this is good Republican wordplay. This is what they do.
Absolutely.
They twist the words to make it sound good.
Well, it's like the Patriot Act.
While they're shivving you.
You remember back in the Patriot Act when you had Republicans and Democrats alike screaming that if you're not for the Patriot Act, then you're not a patriot. That's how they do it.
Oh,
they
bullshit.
name something a certain way, and then, you know, it makes it sound appealing when actually it's very insidious in its nature.
Frank Luntz would be proud of this.
Mm-hmm. I like that one commenter in the article that I was reading down at the bottom said, quote, Obviously, North Carolina has been overtly, uncharacteristically asshole-ish lately, and South Carolina felt the need to keep competitive in the fight to be the worst of the two. I feel very similarly about this, and that's the way it seems to me all across the country. It seems like the entire country is in a contest against each other to see who can be the biggest asshole. Tampa recently outlawed sleeping in public, and Miami goes, I can beat that, and completely outlaws sleeping and eating in public. And then South Carolina speaks up and is like, I can top both y'all. I'll make being homeless completely illegal, full stop.
Yeah, you can't even go downtown. Okay, no. So, I mean,
and
what's downtown? Are there businesses downtown?
yeah, it's a big deal for homeless people because that's the business district downtown in Columbia. So
Well, what if
that's
they're
where
trying
they
to get a
stand.
job?
Yeah, that's where they
What if
stand.
these people are trying to get a job? Now you've essentially barred them from trying to get a job, and you've kept them homeless. You're going to
Yes,
keep them
exactly.
homeless. This is, wow, this is just a big fuck you to everybody who's ever fallen on hard times.
And
Congratulations, South Carolina Republicans. You guys are assholes.
yeah, good
We,
job.
we, we thought Miami was bad when we reported on that story, but you guys are the biggest assholes.
Yeah, yeah, they are by far. They have topped the attempts so far. Uh, one commenter said that this has been the most comprehensive uh, uh, play against the homeless that he's seen in decades. He's never seen anything this bad in 30 years. This is absolutely another example of how legislators are trying, Republican legislators specifically, are trying to criminalize being poor and criminalize being homeless, treating you like you did something wrong.
So let's bring in
So,
the giant elephant in the room, okay? Because you know it's there. Private prisons. Private prisons in South Carolina. They're the
that's
ones who are
another
going to
one.
profit from this.
And this is exactly the type of thing that happens when you have a profit incentive going into something like a prison system.
Of course. How much do you think that they paid these South Carolina legislators, in lobbying, or I should say, legal bribery, legal bribes in the form of campaign contributions? How much do you think those prison corporations have said, hey, we're going to pay you to pass this law against the homeless because nobody cares about the homeless? Now, we have a
Right.
viewer, we actually have a viewer that is going through a bout of homelessness. And, I really feel for the guy. He's going through a really, really tough time through no fault of his own. And he's a smart guy, got a 3.9 GPA through college and everything. And this is a very smart guy, and through no fault of his own, he ends up being homeless. And if they pass those kind of laws in his area, he's going to jail, going to prison. And it speaks to another facet of the modern American life where we demonize the poor. We demonize people who have lost their homes. Especially, and I find it crazy because especially after a recession where a lot of people have lost their homes. Banks have foreclosed on lots of people's homes, leaving them with little recourse. They've cut unemployment benefits, so they can't afford their rent. They've cut welfare services, uh, HUD assistance, housing assistance. They cut all this stuff, essentially forcing people into homelessness so that they can be locked up in a for-profit prison scheme. This is absolutely horrendous. It's
Absolutely. It's
horrendous and disgusting.
it is horrendous and disgusting. Absolutely. I mean, there's not much else to say about it. It's absolutely horrible. I don't know how you can be one of these legislators and sleep at night knowing what you're doing to people who don't have the ability and the power to fight back.
hmm It's, like I said, it's a terrible, terrible situation and a terrible law. I mean, anybody who votes for this is a goddamn sociopath.
I agree. I don't know how they sleep. I don't know how you could consider yourself a good person. I don't know if these people are just so detached that they don't even think about it anymore. They're just barely even human. They're just drones.